Our plan today is to see the craziest castle and some of the weirdest attractions in Connecticut. But would we be able to get into our second castle of the day? Come along these holiday roads with us to find out.
Beautiful, gorgeous day. Pretty park. United Healthcare and M&T Bank building. So we are here in Hartford, Connecticut. And here's the state capitol building of Hartford. Another glorious gold dome. I like the tall tower leading up to that gold dome, and the architectural design on here is spectacular. It's a very, very pretty capitol building. We're just stopping through Hartford here for a quick moment, and we'll be exploring some Connecticut today. And we'll see you next at a very funny looking castle. Well, we're in East Haddam, Connecticut at Gillette Castle State Park, and that is a castle built by William Gillette, American playwright, actor, author, stage director, most famous for his portrayal of Sherlock Holmes, traveling the country portraying Sherlock Holmes. And he was quite an eccentric individual, and actually a modern stage play called The Games Afoot is written about William Gillette and takes place in the castle. So we're going to check it out today. We got a tour of Gillette Castle, and we'll learn a little bit about some eccentricities of the old man. All right, follow us along. The Visitor Center here has displays of his train around property, the engine, other exhibits of props or tools of Gillette, as well as a short film.
By 1942, the rail...
Well, we were just touring 3 floors of Gillette Castle. Obviously, there are taller levels, and out here you can even see a covered balcony. A couple levels, obviously, you can't go up due to fire codes, modern fire codes. But I'll post some pictures in here. But he was a very eccentric but ingenious man. 47 doors, all of southern white oak. But all of the doors had very intricate interlocking systems, and puzzle-like locks that he designed himself, and they were all different. Not a single lock was the same. Mirrors all throughout his great room, his parlor, if you would, so that he can view different angles of the house. If there was somebody that he didn't want to see, if he would like to play some pranks with his locking liquor station and see his friends there struggling with it, he could see all of that and then have a little fun with it. Secret passageways throughout, from one side of the castle to the other, from one level to another. Very intricate and eccentric inventions for fire control, for the inside wood and textile and fabric, with collecting rainwater from the roof that would all go down to particular hoses if he so pulled particular levels and whatnot, since firefighting crews would not be able to get here in time. Such an eccentric individual, very, very wealthy individual, and so this is how he displayed it and how he wanted it to be. Albert Einstein apparently had difficulty with the liquor cabinet when he came in here on a couple of occasions. Gillette Castle, if you're ever in the area southeast of Hartford, I would highly suggest coming on down just to take a look at it. This is definitely a masterpiece of personal wealth and construction, with beautiful views, a gorgeous greenhouse inside. And he even had a train going around his property. Seventh sister. The local stage company even presents free productions of some of Gillette's actual stage productions here on site on a community stage right down over here. That's pretty interesting. And we got train track here, remnant leftover of Gillette's train, Seventh Sister, that would run around this property. A little south of Gillette Castle, we're by the Acton Public Library in Old Saybrook, Connecticut, and we come across this piece of artwork. Old discarded metal parts. There's a praying mantis outside the library reading a book of the Lord of the Flies. I mean, praying mantises, well, they eat flies, so I don't know if he's looking to create disorder from Lord of the Flies, if you've ever read the book, or if he's looking for the Lord of all of the flies. But this is pretty neat sculpture here. Old discarded metal parts put to new purpose. It's pretty neat. In Connecticut, you have lunch at Ted's Restaurant, world famous steamed cheeseburger since 1959. So we'll try them out.
Family owned, Ted's began serving the steamed cheeseburger since 1959, where the burgers are cooked in a steam cabinet rather than traditional grilling or frying cooking techniques. Featured in national publications and Travel Channel programs, this local Connecticut staple had to be tried and experienced for ourselves.
So we just had lunch at Ted's, a small little place, some indoor seating, some outdoor seating. So of the four of us who reviewed our burgers, we got the steamed cheeseburgers. I thought the fries were good. We got some fries with cheese. We got some onion rings. Thought the fries and the onion rings were good. The burgers themselves, two of the reviews enjoyed their burger, one of which really enjoyed their burger. Other two reviews, not a fan. The way that they steam the meat or whatnot, it cooks a little differently. But obviously this place is famous. It's been featured in documentaries, TV shows, and such as well. So obviously they get their business, and a lot of people enjoy it. Just not necessarily for us. But come on down, try it for yourself, and give it a shot. After eating lunch here in Meriden, Connecticut, we come across a traffic signal. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. This here's a traffic light. It was actually erected here in 1925, but this traffic signal was actually became popular with the town as an iconic landmark. It was eventually retired in 1967. This was operating as a traffic signal for 42 years before it was finally replaced by the modern type traffic signals that we all know and love. But it's still standing here today. It was originally just a few hundred feet from here. It's been moved here as part of revitalization projects in the 90s. But you don't see something like this every day. An old historical traffic signal from the earliest decades of vehicular traffic. It's pretty cool. Kind of looks like an air traffic control tower almost a little bit, so I'm sure somebody would have been up there. There is a ladder down here to climb up there. I'm sure there was an operator in there manually adjusting things on particular time intervals or based on traffic flow. It's pretty neat. All right, our next stop, Orange, Connecticut, for a sweet place. Well, we've made it to Orange, Connecticut. And here in Orange, Connecticut, you can get some orange Pez, along with some giant orange Pez. But we'll check out the Pez Visitor Center. There's Superman and Percy, Thomas the Tank Engine's best friend. But they're not alone. There is an entire wall full of Pez dispensers. Let's have some fun today. And here we have the world's largest Pez dispenser. Unless Pez decides to build a larger one. But that Pez dispenser is so large that a couple of humans can fit in there. And they even have a scavenger hunt while you're in here to look around. Production floor is closed today. It is the weekend. But otherwise, I presume that you could watch production being made. Of course, any good museum is going to have a history of things. This one here, the history of Pez. 1927, Pez candy invented, coming from the German word for peppermint, Pfefferminz, taking the P, the E, and the Z from the word, creating Pez. Originally headquartered in Vienna, Austria. Never knew that. The space gun dispenser, selections of dispensers from the 50s. And as Pez dispensers change over the years. So the Pez Museum is broken up into categories. So we have Christmas and Halloween Pez dispensers here. A whole row of Santa Claus dispensers. Reindeer and winter bear dispensers. Down this way we have Valentine's and Easter. So again, more Pez dispensers through the years of holidays. Favorite characters. Some of these remember from the 80s and 90s, what I remember, and some earlier. We have Peanuts characters and the Smurfs, Garfield, the Flintstones, Thomas and Friends, the Simpsons, of course, Sesame Street, Hello Kitty, and some others. Continued. There's more characters here, including Minions, Bugs Bunny, and the Looney Tunes, and even Stranger Things and The Office and E.T. Some of these are older, some of them are newer. SpongeBob and Scooby-Doo. Some Super Mario Brothers. Now this here's a little before my time. Well, maybe some of these are from the 60s and the 70s. Some of these were in the 90s. I just don't recall them. These would be, I guess, Pez Pals. Different Pez dispenser sets, different types of occupations, personalities, and such. And then we have two entire displays of Disney characters, various versions of Disney characters through the years. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs and Pinocchio, so, introduced some of these back into 1962 and 67 and 69. Scrooge McDuck from 1977. These are some older Disney Pez dispensers, and we'll have some newer ones here in this. Some also older, Mowgli from the Jungle Book back in 1967. But we're getting into the Disney Princess line. We're getting into the Lion King, the Muppets, various iterations of the Muppets, Aladdin, Little Mermaid, some Pixar, Frozen, Incredibles, Pirates of the Caribbean. And then over here we have Star Wars. Different series of Star Wars Pez dispensers. But then we also have Giant Pez. Do you all remember Giant Pez? I don't recall Giant Pez personally, but looks like these were from around 2004 or 2005. It's really cool that they have these displays here, but then in the middle of these displays, they have other displays of Pez merchandise, unwrapped, blister card formats, Pez candies, Pez Juniors, box sets of Pez dispenser, The Wizard of Oz, WWE wrestling, SpongeBob, all these creative box sets. Similar to Ben & Jerry's, here at Pez, they will offer a view of packaging. But obviously with packaging being closed today, but you have the various locations here. But you can also do a virtual tour. Touch the circles, and it moves you through the facility. The upper level of the Pez Museum Visitor Center has some iconic apparel for the Pez jacket and Pez advertisement campaigns. Here's a giant grasshopper from a European store display. Here's some more apparel. And then here we have the Orange County Choppers Pez bike. Now, this was actually not featured on the show itself. But you could see them working on it in the background of their shop in a couple of episodes. But part of the deal was that they work on the Pez dispenser, the Pez chopper, and they get to be turned into Pez dispensers. So around 2006, they were the first living people to be turned into Pez dispensers. But you, of course, have some classic Pez. You got Pez lady here. We have Darth Vader. Some classic presidential or Santa Pez. And a teeny tiny Mickey Mouse right there. Flashing lights. This is really cool. And then more representations of the Pez girl. And old Pez boxes and store displays from the 50s. This is a really neat place, and along with your ticket you get a couple of dollars that you can then spend at the retail store. And you also get a visitor center badge that you can take home as a memento as well. It's a lot of fun. There's even a spot where you can put your head on there and put your head on a Pez dispenser. Just like this fancy model right here. Open wide. You can also even design and personalize your own dispensers right over here. You have a couple of different choices. Apply some stickers and decorate as well. We've encountered an assortment of presidents this entire trip. And of course, presidential Pez dispensers. And again, the more that you go to places that have historical importance or relevance, then the more that you find about things before your time. So of course we have old displays and Pez vending machines back from the 50s and the 60s here in the US or Europe, where Pez originated from. Old advertisements adorning the walls. Formula One race car game board by Pez. And a Pez Land of Haas game board The only known example that still exists. That's fun. If you ever wanted to dress up your Pez dispenser, various occupations, nationalities, past, present, that's pretty cool. They even have displays of Pez convention label pins. Flip Top Preservation Society, the first national club for Pez collectors. These are the inside sections, and I didn't even see the outside sections of these. We have Pez plushes. Some different types of Pez dispensers. Pez bubble wands, Pez bendables, Pez cars, superheroes and monsters. You'll have your DC heroes, your Marvel superheroes, Batman dispensers from the 1960s to the present. Monsters like Frankenstein, Creature from the Black Lagoon, Fishman, and then some Rubberhead ones, still in the original cellophane packaging. Emojis and emoticons, crystal balls, and of course astronauts from the 60s and the 70s. We got eyeballs over here. Almost reminds me of the I forget what they were called. They were not the Garbage Pail Kids, but there were some rubber balls that had like alien spikes and eyeballs and things. I'll try to look that up and put their name on there when I remember it. Well, we had a whole lot of fun at the Pez Visitor Center and the Pez Museum. And so we got a couple more stops here today, and we'll call it a day. But if you're ever near Orange, Connecticut, really check out the Pez Visitor Center. A lot of fun. This is King Nyani. Nyani, the Swahili word for gorilla. This is the world's largest bronze gorilla. It's at the Bruce Museum in Greenwich, Connecticut. This has actually bounced around a little bit. It was in New York for a little bit, it was in Illinois. But it is now permanently here due to a long-term, large anonymous donation here at the Bruce Museum in Greenwich, Connecticut. This is quite a large bronze sculpture, but you'll notice that that King Nyani is cradling his arm. Perfect spot for folks to take pictures at. And actually, as a matter of fact, the museum does say, for your own safety, to make sure that you restrict your monkey business to King Nyani's hand. But this is quite a large sculpture, complete with detailed contours all around. The curled up gorilla toes. King Nyani just arrived here in Greenwich here in May, I believe, but earlier this year of 2024. It's a pretty big sculpture. Well, that'll do it for our monkey business for today. We're going to be heading on out to our hotel. And it's been a great day exploring Connecticut. A little bit of excitement. Our hotel for the night is in Tarrytown, New York, the Castle Hotel and Spa. This is actually a historic site. That was a castle built by quite the wealthy individual who would have some guests on over, wealthy guests, and was definitely one of the upper echelons of society from Gilded Age and so on and so forth. But we got a fire alarm, so we got fire trucks, fire chief coming on over, and let's see what we got going on. Well, everything's clear. Fire trucks are going to be moving along. Rumor has it something along the lines of some type of burnt food in the basement or something. But as I said, automatic alarms. They gotta come. Historic building.
Connecticut gave us the craziest home we've ever experienced. hoot castles, a classic candy experience, and some quirky stops along the way. We enjoyed this underrated state, and we hope that you did too. Follow along with us as we finish up our road trip with some classic tales of Washington Irving and New York. Thanks for watching.